Welcome to LaToken Online Roadshow with the topic Redefining Finance in 2020. We are very glad to welcome today's speaker, Frej Andreassen, CEO of EarnBet, J. Lindberg, founder at Cangea, Jim Dolbear, president of XX Network, David Lucatch, co-founder of KABN Network, and Scott Heninger, CEO of Carnomaly. Let me pass the floor to Mike Hendley, who will make a short introduction speech about LaToken and new fundraising products available for the projects and startups all around the globe. Mike?
Thank you, Danila. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our LaToken online event, Redefining Finance in 2020. I'm going to now share with you the presentation. Thanks so much for being here. All right. All right, can everybody see the presentation?
Yes.
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 Perfect, perfect. All right, well, again, for those of you who may just be joining, hello and welcome to the LaToken Online Roadshow. I'm Mike Hendley. I'm responsible for finding great startups and enabling them to achieve their full potential by helping with fundraising, asset tokenization, exchange listing, and post-listing performance. So where are we now? An era of crisis or an era of opportunities? It's definitely uncertain times currently, but who better to deal with uncertainty than startups? Running out of cash is still the #1 reason companies go bankrupt. LaToken actually solves that issue, and I'll show you how a little later. Why LaToken? It all started about 2 years ago when LaToken raised $18 million in an ICO to build a global digital exchange. Since then, we've grown to be in the top 10% of digital asset exchanges by liquidity in the world, and the largest launchpad for IEOs, according to ICO Bench. So how did we get here? We've done 150 plus IEOs since 2017 and listed 400 plus tokens. This is what brought us more than 500,000 registered users, plus the monthly website traffic of 3 million plus visits. Throughout the year, LaToken organizes and promotes blockchain economic forums across the world that gather entrepreneurs, investors, industry leaders, and renowned public speakers. Thanks to those events, we built a network of 8 billion plus assets under management, with over 100 plus venture capital firms, angel investors, and family offices, allowing entrepreneurs and startups to raise $900 million through their participation and sponsorship in these events. So LaToken is the largest crypto fundraising platform for new tokens. As I mentioned previously, ICO Bench rates LaToken by far the largest launchpad for new tokens. In fact, we're 15% larger than our #2 competitor and 68% larger than the third. We've provided these fundraising opportunities to over 54 projects from around the globe. So we've collected substantial expertise in the fundraising process. With this experience, we guide and advise projects throughout the whole cycle to increase their chances of hitting their fundraising targets. Mecha Coin and Coin Share. So I wanted to share with you a few recent fundraising success cases. Basically, the numbers speak for themselves. I want to emphasize there are 2 key components to the success of an IEO. One, the project itself. That means the team, the backers, the community, the product, and overall traction. And 2, the marketing campaign, supporting the token sale. If you have both, your chances of hitting your fundraising targets increase substantially. LaToken Airdrop is a product that's extremely effective for promoting a project's IEO and greatly increases the number of traders for the project. From 10,000 to 100,000 real Telegram group users with over 20 plus success cases. So this is pretty cool too. We're really excited about this. This is a recently launched VC TV widget, which broadcasts our roadshows to 15,000 viewers via our trading terminal, Lot Token landing page, and crowdfunding section. The reason why this is exciting is because it instantly broadcasts to thousands of additional potential investors on our platform. With our top-ranked Lot Token app, you can list your token, invest in upcoming IEOs, and buy your favorite cryptocurrencies for the lowest fees with one click only. Worldwide Investors Roadshows. So we talked earlier about Lot Token blockchain economic forums. This slide provides a little more color. Our BEFs are really high-profile major events happening in multiple locations across the world throughout the year. Guys, we have some really incredible speakers and investors. From Tim Draper of Draper Capital, Vicente Fox, the former president of Mexico, and Joey Krug, the chief investment officer of Pantera Capital. All right, so here are 3 options that we currently have for fundraising opportunities to great startups all around the world. 1, investors room. 2, online pitching sessions. And 3, crowdfunding campaign, which is online pitching sessions plus IEO. Investors room. What's the investors room about? There are 3 simple steps. 1, create your landing page on Lot Token. You instantly become visible to our 500,000 registered users, plus potential investors, and 3 million new coming visits on our Lot Token website. This is your visit card to the investors pool. 2, present your project to the Lot Token team of investment experts in your own video streaming room. So we reserve a slot for you. You can test your pitching to Lot Token investment experts and get instant feedback. That way, you can make sure you're 100% ready to pitch in front of real VC funds. 3, get shortlisted to present your project in front of selected investors. So we plan your project's pitching date, and you get selected to pitch in front of the Lot Token community and the elite investor panel. Online pitching sessions. So Lot Token is offering a great crowdfunding method in this global pandemic scenario. Online fundraising pitch sessions in front of investors with 80 billion plus assets under management. Where else can you do this, guys? This is truly incredible. Here's the value that your project receives. Reaching a worldwide investor community of 500,000 registered users, no cross-border travel expenses and issues, so you don't spend time on traveling, flexible scheduling. Projects can create a pitching slot for any time zone that's convenient for them. Marketing support, where Lot Token provides you with marketing support necessary for successful crowdfunding. And instant equity sale. So due to our 500,000 users that we currently have on our platform, we provide infrastructure for you to sell your equities quickly like never before. And entrepreneurs and startups have already raised 900 million, guys, remember this, by participating in these events. All right, crowdfunding campaign. This is the gold standard, guys, for any startup. If you have a token, we make a primary offering campaign targeted to our 500,000 registered users. This also includes a banner on the main page with our 3 million monthly visitors, a customizable referral program, and secondary market listing. Even if you don't have a token, we can create one for you. There are 2 steps to raise funds on Lot Token right now. 1, you pitch for a Lot Token team of investment experts, or 2, pitch in front of the selected VC funds. All right, guys, well, thank you very much. We want you to be a part of your fundraising success. If you want to reserve a pitching slot for your project, send me your email or message me on Telegram. mentioning your project name and the service you're interested in, whether online pitching sessions or the crowdfunding campaign. Thank you very much, guys. And now we're going to get to it. All right. So as Danila already introduced, we have a fantastic lineup of guests today. Firstly, I wanted them to introduce themselves. Let's start off with Jim and then go to David, Jay, Scott, and Frej. All right, Jim. I think you're muted currently. Perfect.
Oh, sorry.
No
Where
problem.
am I muted?
Jim is the president of the XX Network, guys, to all our viewers.
I'm not. You can't hear me?
We can hear you now.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem.
Yeah, so I'm president of the XX Network, and I work with David Sham, who is a famous cryptographer. And we have a development team in LA and also a sister team in the Cayman Islands. And we have two things that underpin our platform. One is what we call the Elixir software, which is it's a mixed technology based like Tor on steroids. It's very fast and performant. And then the Cayman team developed the XX coin, our digital currency. And that basically is like a decentralized implementation of what David had done with DigiCash and electronic cash in the 90s. And so what we've done is just to really focus on, we call it like high performance, something that a coin that you can use and for transactions and for store of value, where you can bring a transaction to finality in a matter of seconds. And also a coin that has the privacy characteristics of true cash. And we accomplish that by using our mixed network. We also can support messaging, and we have a test messenger out called the XX Messenger, and we can deal with input-output decisions and provide data to be input to a DApp engine. So basically what it is it's a platform where you can kind of lead your digital life in a decentralized world quickly and efficiently on a smartphone without revealing all sorts of information which you would like to have be private. That's us.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jim. Very cool. All right, now we'll go to David.
Hi, thanks, Mike. This is David Lucatch. I'm the co-founder of the KABN Network, and what KABN starts with is a primary belief that digital identity is a basic human right, and that that you should own your digital identity and profit from that digital identity, and that's the basis of our entire company. And we build services around that premise. What we're doing is we're offering a security token. So we're doing something a little bit different. We're actually offering equity in our company through a preference share offering that is being tokenized. And we're one of the first companies in the world that has really taken this to heart. It's taken us almost 2 years to make this happen. And at the heart of our product suite is something called Liquid Avatar. So think of an emoji on steroids. And what it is the ability to create your own avatar. We combine it with dot code and various other elements, and you can share that with who you want, when you want, and how you want. And what you want to equate it to is similar to having a wallet and key rings. When I leave my house conventionally or in the real world, I take with me a wallet and keychains. But when I'm online, that's really difficult. So we've created an agnostic digital credential wallet and key rings that allow you to share exactly what you want, with whom you want, and when you want. And we back that up with a whole series of opportunities around that. Because we're a high security offering, we also have as one of our divisions the ability to integrate digital currencies into the Visa network. So we have in UK, Europe, and now in Canada, and we're working on that elsewhere, the ability to create a Visa product that allows you to use both digital currency and conventional fiat currency. And what's really interesting to note about our company in terms of our structure is those that invest in the KABN network are not just investing in a single company. Our North American division has just received permission from one of the Canadian stock exchanges to go public. So when you're investing in our company, you're not only investing in a token that has potentially appreciable value, but it also has significant assets backing it, including a high interest in a public company in a well-known market. So again, the KABN Network and Liquid Avatar, we're extremely excited and hope you'll reach out to us.
Great, thank you, David. That is very exciting stuff. Excellent.
So cool.
Now let's go to Jay. Jay, who's the founder of Cangea.
Sure. My name is Jay Lindberg. I'm founder at Cangea. I'd like to just first off say thanks to Mike and LaToken for putting this event on. So Cangea, we are a smart contract platform. We build blockchain-based payment platforms for businesses, government entities, and financial institutions. Our software enables anyone to create sophisticated smart payment contracts and deploy them to the blockchain in a matter of minutes without any previous coding experience or any blockchain experience. So we work with financial institutions and taxing authorities, government entities to incorporate smart contracts and blockchain into their operations. We're based in St. Louis, Missouri. We also have a team in Los Angeles, and we have a pretty large overseas outsourced team as well to assist with our project.
Thank you, Jay. And share with the viewers what your focus is, because I think it's pretty interesting in today's world.
Sure. So, in short, we help to facilitate digital transactions. And what's unique about our project is we help to facilitate and disperse funds to multiple parties in real time. One of the key areas that we've been consulting with is and I'm sure you guys are all aware of, the cannabis community. So it's majority a cash only business. And it's been a big headache for taxing authorities, licensing authorities, and they've been trying to wrap their head around how they facilitate these transactions without dealing with duffel bags of cash. So with our system, they're able to have real-time oversight on cannabis licensees and to collect their sales tax on these purchases in real time. So instead of getting duffel bags of cash from cannabis businesses, through our system, they're able to collect their sales tax digitally and in real time.
Very cool. Thank you, Jay. It sounds like it's definitely a niche. Excellent.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go to Scott, CEO of Carnomaly.
Hello, I'm Scott Heninger, CEO and founder of Carnomaly. We're kind of two companies in one. We have an automotive platform, which is kind of like an auto trader, cars.com, where you would go search for a vehicle. And then we also have our crypto side, which is an automotive rebate, along with our AVB, which is an automotive vehicle blockchain that we're developing. So with Carnomaly, our goal is to streamline and simplify the car buying process. And I wish we had already launched before this whole coronavirus lockdown, because some of the things that we're going to bring to the market would be very beneficial in the current situation. So we're looking at utilizing ride sharing for test drive deliveries of vehicles, picking up your vehicle for service and dropping it back off to your house. So you don't have to leave your home or your office to have a vehicle taken in to the dealership to get serviced. That's on the automotive side, as well as our sales aspect, working with dealers, giving the consumer different avenues of how to purchase a vehicle. Now on the crypto side, we have our automotive rebate platform, which is by owning tokens, which is our car token, you're actually able to buy a vehicle and get a rebate of more car tokens that you can sell on exchanges and basically lower the cost of your vehicle. This works for new cars, used cars, anywhere around the world. As long as you go to a registered dealer, you submit your proper documents, you can get a rebate. Then the AVB, which is our automotive vehicle blockchain, will basically track all service history, maintenance history, and allow individuals to record service and maintenance history if they do it themselves at their own home. We also have are developing a natural disaster warning system. So if you have a vehicle that is in a flood or a hurricane area, it will actually notify that on the blockchain so that a potential buyer would know that this vehicle may or may not have been, in a flood area and might have some flood damage. So the potential buyer, whether it's a dealer or a wholesaler or an individual, they can look into that and say, okay, let me lift up the carpet and see if this vehicle has flood damage or not. Also, with that, we're trying to work with the DMVs to streamline and speed up vehicle registration and make it a seamless process.
Wow, Scott, that sounds very comprehensive and very impressive. Excellent. Thank you. All right, so let's move on to Frej. He from EarnBet. He's the founder of EarnBet. Unfortunately, his video is not working at the moment, but we're going to hear him loud and crystal clear on audio.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, so EarnBet, we are the first decentralized casino, and we actually pioneered the way of owning a casino. It's probably the first time some people hear about this in your audience, but people can, so the players normally, when they bet on normal casinos, they don't get a share of the casinos. So players can actually own this casino and be like a community, like the crypto should be, a big community effort. But yeah, EarnBet has a lot of success. So we started back in 2018 in March on Ethereum. It couldn't scale. Probably some of the listeners have probably heard about scaling problems with Ethereum. So we moved to EOS in August, and we're the first dApp on EOS. We quickly exploded every stats about dApps. We had over, let's see here, we had over $300 million in just 3 months bet on our platform. And we had a bit over 3,000 players. So we quickly were the dApp where, okay, we were the biggest. So there come a lot of competition after, but yeah, EarnBet is the first decentralized casino where players can own it. And we pretty much grew very quickly. And right now we are a team of 30 people globally. And our main competitors is, we pretty much have the crypto community behind us, but we are looking to expand into, if people know about Bet365, PokerStars, and so on, to compete with them in this year. So we have some huge news coming soon, like you'll hear with Justin Sun soon. But we have some big plans, and we have paid, actually, if you have, the players can own the casino, and we have paid $4 million in 1 year to the players. So it's been very profitable because we were the first to do this. We pioneered this model of owning a casino. So we pretty much just stuck to the path and been growing every day. And I think right now we're also in the top 10 in that radar if you look the users. So we're looking forward to scale this, and if your audience have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Great, thank you, Frej, very much. Yeah, I personally am a huge fan of Texas Hold'em, so very cool.
We will have all the games. So right now, every game is on a smart contract and probably fair. So probably fair, and we actually have it sold. It's non-custodial. So let's say you deposit into a centralized casino and you win big. You're like, damn, now I need to withdraw this. Sometimes they stop you and say, no, you cannot do that. But with the power of crypto and smart contracts, we never hold your funds. So if you win it, you bet with a smart contract. If you win, you get the funds, and you can withdraw instantly. So
Awesome.
it's awesome. Yeah.
Well, very cool. Thank you, Frej, very much. All right, guys. So thank you all so much for introducing yourselves and telling us a little bit about your project. I have to say, this is probably the most exciting group that I have seen in quite a while. And I think we have some great projects here today, and really excited. So thank you all so much for being here. And we're going to get to the questions. All right. So why don't we just go in the same exact order as we did before to make it easier for everyone? So I'll start it off with Jim. So Jim, the Bitcoin halving is less than a month away. Historically, after every halving, the price has gone up significantly thereafter, whether it's 6 months or a year. But if you look at the chart, the past two halvings, the Bitcoin price has gone up significantly. So what can we expect this time, in your opinion?
Well, you know, when I was in business school, the dean of the place I went had written a book called A Random Walk Down Wall Street. His name is Burt Malkiel. He was at Princeton and then he was at Yale. And he was the guy who really published most broadly about rational expectations, which is the idea that, you know, people can see stuff coming and they price that stuff in. That's why sometimes when you get bad news, the price goes up, because the bad news wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be.
Good point.
So
Yeah.
the problem with the Bitcoin halving is people gotten, I think, relatively sophisticated. So it's not easy to know how much is baked in. And so what's strange is that probably, you know, since we've made these questions, all hell broke loose, you know, in the Bitcoin market and the world at large. So probably the more interesting thing to point out is that Bitcoin is alive and well, you know, relative to the US equity market and stuff. It was a little bit tough there for a while, but, you know, in the life of Bitcoin, this was a big deal the last couple of months and coming through kind of with flying colors. So, I mean, maybe that's the big news, not the Bitcoin halving. And there's
That's
also
an astute observation.
Well, you know, whatever. So I was point, but the other thing is there's a physical impact, you know, in China in particular on mining and stuff. Electricity prices are going down all over the place. There's societal shocks. So there, I'm not on top of it, like, you know, like a lot of people are who are into mining, because I don't mine myself. But I mean, the mining pool has been affected there, you know, dramatically, not just by the Bitcoin halving and internal stuff, but by, you know, the outside world. Electricity costs, what's going on in China. So it seems like things are going well for Bitcoin, you know, but maybe the halving itself won't be the biggest price shock, you know, over this 6-month period. But
great points. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, no problem.
Excellent. All right, so let's go to David.
Thanks. And I like Jim's points. I'll just point out that, you know, Trading Places, the movie, actually, you know, the damper on rational expectations, right? With orange juice. But got to go back a few years to remember that. But I think the Bitcoin halving is an interesting situation if you look at it from pure marketing. I think the community at large has gotten a lot larger to understand Bitcoin. And I do agree with Jim that, you know, with electricity prices dropping, but I think one of the big barriers to price increase is, and we see this in traditional equity markets, is the ability for leverage shorts. And I think, you know, there's a lot of pressure, I believe, on the price of Bitcoin when people can do, you know, 100-time leverage shorts and various tools that can affect a negative market. And I do believe in Bitcoin, and I do believe that, you know, those that are saying it'll go to 100,000 or 200,000 or 300,000 may not ultimately be wrong. But I think in the short term, what we've got to look at is, can we get better adoption through the use of Bitcoin? And it's you know, the best way to think of an investor is to think of them as a consumer. And, you know, the old adage that, you know, people put their pants on one leg at a time. The more consumers that use Bitcoin, the more demand there will be for Bitcoin, and events like the halving will have a larger impact on the macroeconomics, because you'll have a supply and demand equation. So I kind of look at it from a marketer standpoint and say, Our real challenge is how do we get people using Bitcoin and other digital currencies? And we talked a bit earlier about the one, how do we get them using digital currencies so there's a comfort level and a need and a want and a desire to own Bitcoin.
Excellent. Really great points as well. Thank you, David. All right, so let's go to Jay. I think Jay, we can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Yep.
Yeah, perfect.
So I just want to echo, what Jim said, that Bitcoin is live and well. I agree with that 100%. The halving is grabbing a lot of attention right now. And mostly I think it's because people believe it's going to make the price increase. And, the truth is nobody knows what's going to happen. This is a very turbulent time. The market is extremely volatile, not just the crypto market, but the stock market as well. I think it's really a toss-up on where the market might be in the next few months. But I would say that, I am a fan of Bitcoin, and I think that the mass adoption is coming. And I think that the introduction of stablecoins will bring more people to the space, and they'll start to understand a little bit more about Bitcoin just by learning about stablecoins and vice versa. So I think that we're going to increase, there will be mass adoption, but as far as the price point goes, I wish I knew, but there's really no telling over the next couple months.
I hear you. Well, that's a very good commentary. Thank you, Jay. All right, so let's move on to Scott.
So, I really want to kind of build off what David was saying. It's the price of Bitcoin right now, that, the halving is a big thing, but the price of Bitcoin right now is really determined by, several people owning thousands and thousands of Bitcoins. So I believe that we have to get these Bitcoins in more people's hands. The more people that have Bitcoin, the more people that own Bitcoin, that price is going to grow and grow and get more stable. I think that when we hit that $20,000 mark, several years ago, that was because there was a big influx. Everyone heard of, Bitcoin was going up, and all these people got on Coinbase and started buying up all this Bitcoin, right? And then it crashed, and all those people got out. We need, because the use cases weren't there at that time. So we need more use cases for Bitcoin. So all these people can come back, own Bitcoin. You can disperse, the Bitcoin across more people will help level out the price. And, I think after the halving, we'll probably end up somewhere in the 15,000 range. I mean, we were really stable at 10,000 before this whole coronavirus thing happened. So
that's a good point.
That was we've kind of stabilized at 10,000. So I think, 15 is in our near future, but to go above that 20, I really think that we have to have more use case for Bitcoin.
That's a good point, Scott. Yeah, and I also think, perhaps the users seeing the price go down, after holding is a rite of passage. I mean, I, for instance, had coins in 2013. I saw the Mt. Gox, price rise up almost exponentially, then go down. And then years later, we see another bull run that magnifies that by almost 10 times. I think in the future, perhaps if we're lucky, and I think personally, we'll see something similar. The question is, what's the timeline? But yeah, that's a great thoughts. All right, so let's move on to Frej.
Oh, you can hear us. Super. Well, to continue on that with the price, I think the big crash we had here in March was the big flush out. So I'm pretty sure the big players, so as Scott says, there's a lot of big players with thousands of Bitcoins. And this is the perfect opportunity for them, because if you remember, Bitcoin was created to actually not go down. We all know it went down because of all the institution needed to sell the cash so they could cover the long position on stocks and so on. So all the big players got out, but they also got into the game again after we saw $6.5 trillion from the Fed getting injected. So I've never been more bullish on Bitcoin than I am right now. So I've been through it a bit. So I'm around the 2012, saw the big way to 1K, then down. But I think it's the same thing. It's getting flushed out, all the speculators. But I think all the mass adoption is happening right now. What I just saw yesterday is that we have the most active and new addresses in Bitcoin right now. It's if you look with 0.1 Bitcoin, that's most people can own that in most of the world. And that's increasing rapidly. So that just means that the everyday man can afford to invest this. And we also saw the Coinbase story about they all got $1,200 into everybody bought with the free money from the government, right? So people, I just hope that people wake up and see this is the opportunity we all have been waiting for. Don't sell your Bitcoins now. This is the time where it will slowly rise, go down a bit, rise, then another flush, and then we see, because back in 2017, it was in 3 months, it went like 6x. Like it in short periods of time, the price increases. But if you wanna, but that's for the speculator. I believe Bitcoin is doing what it's supposed to be. Like right now, we see China have huge adoption. They're leaving into Tether, but they're getting quickly exposed to crypto. So we see all this cash from all around the world getting into crypto, and everybody heard about Bitcoin, so that would be the first. But I'm a big believer that we will see huge rises in new projects. I believe blockchain will be 200x the next 5 years.
Well, thank you, Frej. Yeah, that was inspiring to me, and I think really wise words. So excellent. I echo your sentiment.
Just some good sentiment
optimism
to finish off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. All right, so let's get on to the next question. And we'll start with Jim again. So what are you most excited about for the future of blockchain technology? And where do you see the space in 5 years?
Yeah, this is a little bit of an inside baseball kind of an answer, but there's a lot of like regulatory and legal friction and pressure on all the players in the industry. And I won't go into why that is the case, but it's not like the powers that be are helping with implementation or with adoption. And yet, the central banks realize that you need digital currencies. So I think what's going to happen is that some of the sort of barriers, notably in the United States, are just going to come down in terms of like legal risk and regulatory risk. It's really a pain in the ass to try and get things done in an environment, particularly when you're an early stage or a smaller entity, in an environment where you're constantly worrying about, what the SEC is going to do to you, or whether you're a money service business and you're paying, God knows how many $1 million to a bunch of lawyers who also don't know the answer. So it's sort of a not a particularly sexy answer, but I think what's going to happen is we're going to get some maturity and some acceptance that this is real and important, and then we'll actually be able to do things and implement. Also, I think that what happened, what Ethereum is going through, which is the challenge of really trying to make your stuff work. I think we're finally admitting that some of the things that people said would work haven't worked, and that's what we're trying to do, is to kind of meet that challenge. If we get to the point where we actually have a high performance networks that work, people will actually use them. So I think, one of the reasons people haven't used it is doesn't work that well. So it's our view, and we're trying really hard to kind of meet that challenge. If we and some other people can get some stuff out there that's actually performant, where it's fast and easy to use, I think we'll see just huge growth. So
Awesome. Awesome. It sounds great, Jim. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
All right, so let's move on to David.
Thanks, Mike. We're focused and very passionate about where we are, and we're looking at identity. So we're not necessarily looking at VR as a situation, but virtualization. So when I go online, how do I prove that I am who I say I am? And that's been a big challenge, and that dovetails into some of the things that Jim was talking about. Because you think of regulation and you think of oversight and governance, and in fact, because we're involved in a public company right now, this is the first time in our history of dealing with public companies, because of the coronavirus, where we don't have to provide notarized documents or original documents or that type of, and everything is much more virtual. We're seeing right now become much more virtual. But at the end of the day, when I'm online, how do I prevent identity theft? And I think ownership of identity is the big barrier for a lot of people globally. And identity affects 100% of the online addressable market. So what excites us is the ability to help people prove who they are, and in a way that is easy, transparent, and is owned. The other thing that is really important is, and we see this through regulation, whether it's GDPR or the CCPA in California, or some of the privacy rules coming up, and even Google's recent announcement that they're no longer within the next, they said 2 years, but who really knows, are not going to offer third-party cookies because of privacy. So at the end of the day, corporations have always owned the data on who we are. But now this point in time becomes we're the first generation online that is going to be able to manage and control and profit from our own data. So the breadcrumbs we will be leaving online, we will be able to profit from. So I think if you think about it, we're really swiftly moving to kind of the Ready Player One, where I can be who I want, when I want, and how I want online. However, I can back that up with a real person. I mean, we're even seeing this just quickly in gaming, where those that are online gamers, I could have 20 accounts.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to get value out of those 20 accounts. I really want the marketing to me, directly to me. So my registration has value both to myself and now to the game company. So I think we're seeing a symbiotic move towards, if I'm willing to prove who I am, I can see benefit and value, and I can take that value through the entire ecosystem. So that's what we see in the next 5 years, and that's what we're excited about.
Very cool. I think you illuminate a really good point about identity. I agree with you. I think that's going to be something, especially with crypto, that's going to be ever important in the future.
Well, especially with the travel rule, and come June 20, right? The Patriot Act sort of says $5,000, and you need to know the verified parties. But the travel rule says $1,000 in digital, and both parties need to be known on either side.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, thank you, David. So let's move on to Jay.
Sure. So one thing that I can say is it's safe to say that we've been transitioning to a digital world, right? Over these past, 3 decades. And I believe that this current situation with COVID-19 is actually acting as a catalyst, pushing the world even quicker into this digital future. Everybody's being forced to adapt to newer technologies, everything from Zoom meetings like this, hosting conferences and expos digitally, online schooling, digital payments, VR. A lot of these technologies that people may not have experienced until further down the road, this situation is forcing them to interact with them now. So, that is one of the good things that I've seen coming out of this situation, is it's helping to fast track some of the adoption of this technology, including blockchain. So I think over the next 5 years, there are going to be some great innovations. This is a great time for innovators and inventors. There's some inevitable technologies that are going to be gaining mass adoption over this next decade, and blockchain is one of them. I think that to get there, we need to simplify the consumer's interaction with this technology. For instance, when email first came out, we weren't discussing, POP3 and SMTP technology. People were just sending emails. They didn't understand the underlying technology. They were just using email. So I think that that's where we need to get to, is that the consumer is using blockchain and they don't necessarily realize it. They just know that they're sending payments, or they're just doing their normal activity, and the blockchain piece is just happening. I think that that's where we need to get to. And I think within 5 years' time, we'll be a lot closer to that. And I think with the introduction of stablecoins, it'll help to fast track mass adoption with big business and government authorities who want to interact with blockchain, but they don't want to deal with the volatility of, let's say Bitcoin. So.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I think what you said exactly about the comparison between email and blockchain, that's you hit the nail on the head, man. I think that's exactly right. Very cool. All right, so let's go to Scott.
Yeah, what Jay just said, the coronavirus has definitely fast-tracked the world wanting to move to a more digital, environment, and then, just key off environment. I saw something on the news the other day that the pollution is down like 30% in some of these cities from what it was prior to less driving, less cars on the road, just less waste, things like that. So I think that's really going to play into blockchain development. I saw a company that was developing a wind farm where people could actually invest through token in the blockchain to own a portion of this wind farm. So you'd have different things like that. Yeah, it's crazy. Different ideas and blockchains like that coming up down the road. Also, self-driving vehicles. There's blockchain technology being developed to allow cars to talk to each other on the road. That is huge. And will we ever really have a self-driving car where you hop in and there's not a driver behind the wheel? Maybe 20 or 30 years down the road, but driving assisted cars. And I think the blockchain is really going to help with cars communicating with each other to assist in less accidents, less, just allowing cars not to go over a certain speed limit, like on a neighborhood street. These are different things that a blockchain could do, and blockchain technology could definitely help. Yeah,
that's true. I definitely think we'll be seeing a lot more of that. And it's interesting from, you being in the car industry, seeing that stuff come to fruition will be really, really interesting. So Thank you, Scott. All right, so let's move on to Frej.
I was a bit into the future of blockchain price-wise, but I think in the future of use cases, I think everything will be on a blockchain at some point in a few years. I think there are so many use cases you can do with it. And we have seen a lot, and we have seen a lot of fails. We've seen a few who actually made it. And I'm looking forward to see more utility. Actually, I'm looking forward to projects who actually care about their investors and community, because I think everything about crypto is a community, and it's the only way we can grow the future of blockchain. So right now, I just want that projects will focus on their token. And so the community will be so much a part as possible. A lot of projects just put out a token and then was nothing, and that's why it died a lot here from 2017 to 2020. But right now I'm seeing a lot of projects, and I see some good projects here, and I'm looking forward to maybe speak with some of you guys later on. But I just hope that we will stop seeing the moon boys and the Barry's guys and the traders, and it's more about actually, what can I do with this token? Can I use it to something in the platform? All I see with projects is staking. We will maybe have a feature in the future. So I just want a quick access token to all the projects coming out now. Then it will grow quickly. I just think projects need to focus a lot on the community. It's all that will set them apart from regular business, because the everyday consumer won't care about blockchain if they don't feel a part of the project. Like, we have the power to give them a token and feel a part of the community. Leverage that. I see so many projects not doing it and they fail at marketing that way, but use that. But I see a bright future for projects. I see so many good projects coming out. I see the right people coming in the space now. They saw all the money rush in the 2017, but now we have been in a bear market and people have focused on actually delivering a good technology, a good use case. So if you first time coming into crypto right now and you're listening to this stream, then you're lucky. Like, you're getting into some good projects now. It's a good time to get into crypto, but I think I'm very much excited for the casino industry. Of course, I'm biased, but it needs. The casino industry is so old, man. You all know it, and you can be a part of a casino that is global. Like, we are global, and I can see so many. We have communities all over the world, and everybody is just excited talking about being a part of something. So the community is everything for me. If we're going to see the next 5 years grow a lot. And then I think that the projects should speak together like this, leverage each other, talk with each other.
Absolutely.
But yes, if you're a new investor in the space, reach out to any of these projects, talk with them. I'm sure they're all good. So it's a good time to be alive.
Great. Thank you, Frej, very much. All right, so I'm going to switch up the questions really quick. We're going to go to the stablecoin question. If we could just do that briefly, just a brief answer on that, and then we'll go to the last question, which is geared towards your project as well. All right, so Jim, what is your opinion on stablecoins, and how do you think they'll play a role, in the future of blockchain?
To me, one of the most important things about stablecoins is that basically it shifts the frontier between stability and regulation. Meaning, if you want to go from a cryptocurrency, say Bitcoin, to something, your home currency, which is a fiat currency, you have to pass a regulatory wall. And that means, KYC, that means meeting some FinCEN requirements. So, stable coins are an artful way where you can go to stability without having to go to fiat. And I think the most significant thing about that is what that means administratively and legally. It means you can go from, say, a more volatile, but more significant currency like Bitcoin to a stable currency without having to cross into the fiat world and trigger all the, the regulatory and legal requirements. So that has a big impact. So to me, that that's sort of the biggest part of it.
Yeah, no, that's I think a really great way to look at it. And I think you hit what's really important. The way you said it, it's the perfect balance between kind of the regulatory and the other side. So yeah, thank you, Jim. All right, David.
So thanks, Mike. When I look at stablecoins, I think of as a precursor to a country's digital coin or digital offering, because stablecoins, by and large, will allow us to make that migration to fiat. And when I look at it from potentially a network opportunity like a Visa or MasterCard or American Express or any of the major networks, I think stablecoins are something that they'll allow to more quickly coexist within those networks. So I think stablecoins provide that bridging mechanism, again, I think, as Jim said, to fiat. I don't, because we're embroiled in the KYC and AML business, change a whole lot of regulatory opportunity because of asset hold. But I do agree with Jim on the basis that it does provide an opportunity for users to move from digital currency into the fiat world very, very effectively and efficiently.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I also think for people that may just be getting into crypto, maybe some of those are viewers right now, it's kind of an easier ramp to understanding crypto. And I think for some beginners that are just getting into it, it might be an attractive option at first. But yeah, excellent. All right, so let's go on to Jay.
Sure. There's been some great comments that I do agree with. I think that stable tokens are a very important role in this crypto economy. I think that they're going to be critical to achieving mass adoption. I think that they're going to bring a lot more players to the space as, you know, a stable coin opens the door for more business use cases. When the average person thinks or hears the term Bitcoin or blockchain, when they hear blockchain or crypto, they think of Bitcoin and the media hype around the fluctuation of the price. So I believe that stable coins will open people's eyes to the underlying technology without them being distracted by the price volatility. So I think that they're critical to move this space forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay. All right, so we're going on to Scott.
Yeah, I can really see big banks adopting stable coins in the future to allow people to put funds in once crypto gets, to that point, and banks and regulatory bodies get past all that legal, the legal part of the aspect, and we have a currency, a digital currency for each country. I believe banks will really use stable coins to allow you to put money in, maybe even pay you interest off being able to use those funds for loans and things like that. Maybe even convert stable IRAs and different, funds like that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Scott. All right, so Frej.
Unmute. Stable coins. Well, there's a lot now, don't you think? There's I love the way that MakerDAO is doing it. It needs some improvements, but I think stablecoins is the perfect way to crypto to grow. So you have to remember, I'm sorry, I'm going back in time, but for the listeners who haven't experienced the 2017s, exchanges couldn't take you in as a customer. Every exchange was closed. You could pay someone to get an exchange account. They couldn't handle all the traffic coming in. So this time with stablecoins is such an easy way to onboard all these new users into the space. And we see a huge growth in all the DEXs around the world. And we can see people can have stability in the stablecoins, which I think will be the killer thing for making the next bull run, because people can feel safe. And it's easy to onboard, and we see China still uses Tether much more than Bitcoin. They just need the one-to-one peg. But when we see US going into inflation at some point, I don't want to speculate, but then I think that Bitcoin actually will be the place to be, and people are already in stablecoins. What we see in the market right now is that people don't go out to fiat, to their own currency in their country. They go into stablecoins. They never leave the crypto market. That's awesome for stablecoins. Like, the customers never leave. They stay in crypto and find the next big project for them. They're all in stablecoins. You don't see, it's rarely, only if you have to pay bills or anything. You can also do that now. And some places in US, you can pay taxes with Bitcoin. So this is the future. And stablecoins have made a gateway that will path that future. And And you can check it up yourself. Nobody is taking out crypto. They take into stable coins. They don't go down to the regular dollar in the bank accounts.
That's right. Frej, we're running. I'm going to probably have to cut you off here because we're going to have to move on to the next question. But thank you very much. I agree. I think MakerDAO is really interesting. Tether, we all know Tether. It's very interesting as well. I think USDC also has a ton of potential. I'm a big fan of USDC, and they already have a ton of banking relationships. So it's really interesting in terms of the
Can I add a note on that? You said USDC.
Yeah.
So, the man who created USDC with Coinbase is actually working for the government of the United States to create the digital.
Wow. I didn't know that. That's actually really interesting. Yeah, I'm super bullish on USDC, and I think that's really interesting, but awesome. So we're going to move on to the last question, guys. All right. So this is interesting for all of you. How do you view competition in this industry, and what makes your token different? So this will be the last question. So, feel free to take the floor and really talk about your company and your token. But yeah, how do you view competition in this industry, and what makes your token different? We'll start off with Jim.
So, a couple of weeks ago, Vitalik got in a little spat with a Bitcoin developer about sort of the DNA of Bitcoin. I don't know if people saw it, but the guy said, Bitcoin has always been digital gold. And Vitalik said, not so fast. When I came in 2011, I seem to remember the whole idea was peer-to-peer cash. And then he clipped like the first paragraph of the Satoshi white paper. And I know like Roger Ver, sometimes people give him grief about, screwing with Bitcoin because of Bitcoin Cash, but you could think he's really a Bitcoin purist in the sense that he believes in the original vision, that there should be a way to actually live your digital life with a digital currency. That's what was in the white paper. So to me, that's what we're about. So it's like, we completely believe that. And we think there are other things that are valid, but they're not the original vision. So I don't know if sort of originalists or something like, Satoshi originalists. That I don't think there isn't a word for this, but so when we started out, and in fact, David, for many years, stood on the sidelines, and people would call him and ask for comments, columnists and reporters and stuff, and he wouldn't say anything because his view was like, I know that crypto, it's never going to be fast enough. This is not going to support kind of real digital life, real life on the network. And so he's like, I don't want to like rain on anyone's parade or say anything negative, and I don't know what to do to solve the problem. So it was really only when we had a couple of breakthroughs that we came into the space about how to actually create a digital currency and a platform that would really support real mass market kind of consumer life. I think Frej was talking about this. Like, it's when the normal people, the mass market, people around the world really come into this, into crypto. That's when things can be widely used. And so how do you do that? So again, I'll use Frej as an analogy. I mean, our view is you've got to have like a game and the network itself and the consensus protocol, which is like a fair casino, if you think of it, like something that people can't manipulate. The nodes can't take the network down. The nodes can't screw with the, with the consensus protocol. And so the way we come at it, and we're calling it proof of quantum random sample. What happens is when our nodes come onto the XX network, they're required to buy into an unpredictable, unmanipulatable randomness. And we use that randomness to select endorser teams for each successive block of 1,000 transactions. And then those endorser teams disband, and a new group is randomly selected over and over again for each block. And so in that way, we can basically have a fair game, if you will, where the nodes participate and are rewarded, but it's impossible for them to take the network down or control the endorsing, the consensus solution for each block. And then the other piece that we were really fixated on, of course, was we've got to set it up where you can use a smartphone, because it's all about smartphones. You know, you're out and about. And so what that meant to us is the signatures for a transaction and your ability to check needed to be use crypto, where you could have it on the client side over the network. It has to be a signature that's small enough that it can come over the network and you can check it on a smartphone client. So we created some hash-based cryptography, and we had a breakthrough where we use a random a group signature. We call it a compact endorser signature. So the small group of endorser nodes is able to reach consensus using a signature that's hash-based but small enough that you can smartphone in and check it. So bottom line is, our view is, you know, it's really, we're dedicated to the mass market space, and we think you can only really succeed in that space if you do what we've done, which is to build the crypto from the bottom up so that it addresses the problem. And it's not trivial or easy. You can see that from the, you know, the struggles Ethereum has gone through. You basically have to go back to the drawing board and do it, you know, bottom up. And so that's what we think we've done. And that's what we think you need to do in order to kind of like grow the space overall, sort of, you know, around the world.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Jim. And why don't you tell the viewers one more time your name and your company, your title, and how they can get in contact with you.
Thank you very much. It's Jim Dolbear. I'm president of the XX Network, and you can come to the website, which is xx.network. And we also have a presence, obviously, on, and you can tell on the join page on xx.network, we have our own app called the XX Collective, our community app. The coin, which we just did an initial sale, is the XX coin. And we're also, obviously, we're on Twitter, Discord, Telegram. It's all on the join page. We have some nice video content on YouTube. So we hope people will join us and track us.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jim. Stay on. Thank you very
definitely.
much. And David, why don't you start off also telling the viewers one more time if they might just be joining. We'll have everyone do this. Awesome. Thank you. We'll go to David.
Yeah, so it's David Lucatch, and it's KABN.network, and you can reach us through the KABN.network, and we're obviously on all social media outlets as well, and it's usually the KABN network. KABN is pronounced KABN, and most people who know us know that we don't talk a lot about the blockchain, because we have a fundamental challenge. We are blockchain enthusiasts. We use the blockchain as a service, but there is a fundamental challenge with the blockchain in our business, which is identity, is in fact that personally identifiable information, or PII, cannot go on the blockchain because of regulations. A user must be able to remove or forget data. And because of the immutability of the blockchain, we can't do that. But because of the way that we work with privacy and we work with moving data, we are enthusiasts of the blockchain, and we can connect unique markers to blockchain registries, which allow us to do proof of identity. So you won't hear us talk about the blockchain in large as Jim would. And for us, we think of identity as the great equalizer. And we don't think of identity as something that we own. We think of identity as something that the user owns. So if we're going to really be in this space and look at the competitive landscape, we have to take a term from the late 1990s called cooptation, which is with your complementers and your competitors in an environment. So we think of the user as having all kinds of different identity certificates, credentials, passwords. Everything needs to be in a unique format or container. And not only do we use keys, whether private and public keys, to work with that, we also use biometrics, because we don't believe that someone should have to remember a 13-word phrase to unlock a wallet. I mean, my face, my voice print, my DNA, my heartbeat, my thumbprint, and we are device agnostic. We think that the form factor, being a smartphone, is uniquely the best device to use, is the most ubiquitous in case, but we are agnostic to a device, and we use multi-factor authentication. So our whole business is built on the fact that we want to empower users to use the services that many of us are talking about and to proliferate those services. But to do so, I think the user needs to be able to own their identity, be able to profit from their identity, and be able to create value. And that's why we created a security token or an equity token, is because we're not a utility token offering. We're not, our products are not directly on the blockchain. We use those services. We work with some of the leading providers in blockchain to make our product better. So we invite you to come out and visit the KABN network. We do have an IEO going live with LaToken, and we're very excited about that. I think that goes May 4th. So we're ready, really ready to go. And I want to say openly and honestly, it's been a wonderful journey with LaToken. We've been working with you guys since about November, December to get this up and running and find the right time. And I also want to ask everybody at liquidavatar.com, so you can be among the first to sign up with your Liquid Avatar and basically rule the world with your own image. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. And also, he said something really cool before David shared with me something really cool before the live stream, that KABN is bank reworded. Scrambled. So that's
Right.
very cool. But yeah, we're super excited about your IEO here on LaToken. And thank you so much for the kind words.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to go on to Jay.
Sure. So just to recap, my name is Jay Lindberg with Cangea. We're a smart contract payment platform. We build blockchain-based payment platforms for businesses and government and taxing authorities. There are a lot of great projects in the space. A handful of them are on the call here. It's exciting to see all the new and emerging tech. One thing that I'd like to point out about our company is that we're not just a token or a coin. There's a whole suite of software that we provide, and I think that really sets us apart. Secondly, a lot of blockchain and crypto projects tend to be anti-establishment or anti-government, and we understand that mindset, but we're more trying to work with those entities to help bring them into the blockchain space. And I think that's another thing that sets us apart. A lot of the popular projects out there, in my mind, they don't serve a big business purpose. Like, I'll bring up CryptoKitties as example. That almost it overloaded the Ethereum blockchain for some time, and it's just about collecting a digital cat, right? So we're focused on real world business problems and providing real world solution. So I think that's something to be looked at, when we're looking at competition. Another thing is a lot of the payment platforms out there now, we look at them more so as not competitors, but we see them as potential partners. So we think that through API integration, that instead of looking at them as more of a competitor, they're a potential integration to help expand, the blockchain space. Thirdly, our team, this company was founded by some of the sharpest minds in the space. Brendan Laban, our CTO, he is a blockchain developer at Object Computing Inc., OCI. And they are actually one of our development partners. They built the EOS blockchain. They're based in St. Louis as well, Object Computing Inc. So they're in our backyard. So we have a great relationship with them, and having the ability to fall back onto their manpower and experience, it allows us to rapidly spin up new development and integrate with new partners and, just fast track new features. So those are some of the things that set us apart and, how we view other projects in the space.
Very cool. Thank you, Jay.
Sure.
That sounds like some really, really interesting developments. And I think definitely cannabis and crypto technology is a marriage made in heaven almost. So it sounds like y'all are doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, just to touch on that, one more note, we are helping to facilitate transactions in the cannabis space, but we're not just a cannabis project. You know, we're working with franchises and franchisors to help facilitate real-time collection of royalty fees. And we're working with title companies and real estate firms to help facilitate settlement of funds at on a HUD-1 statement on closing day. So there's a lot of other you know, channels that we're in, but cannabis is obviously one that gets a lot of attention because it is one of the biggest problems in the forefront as far as payments.
Well, very cool. Thank you, Jay. Thank you. All right, so moving on to Scott.
Well, first, I just want to ask Jay, is he going to be sending us samples or?
Hey, I don't have any samples. I'm sorry, man.
I'm just kidding.
And Scott, also, if you could also remind the viewers that may just be tuning in, your name and your company, and where we can find you as well.
Right. So Scott Heninger, I'm the founder and CEO of Carnomaly. Now that's Carnomaly. So basically the name came from, we're an automotive company. So we have the word car, but we're different. So we're an anomaly. So we're a Carnomaly. So
Nice.
Carnomaly.io or Carnomaly.com is the website. And then you can find us on Telegram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Just under, just search Carnomaly.
Perfect.
So really getting into the crypto space after spending 18 years in the automotive industry, there's really no automotive projects that I've really found in the crypto space. And I believe we have a really unique project. We're doing more than just a crypto project. We're also doing a, you know, brick and mortar from the ground up automotive company. So it's kind of, like I said in the beginning, two companies in one. We have Carnomaly.com, which is our automotive online platform, like an auto trader, cars.com, where you're going to be able to buy, sell vehicles, research vehicles, set up test drives, maintenance, different things like that, interact with dealers. Then we'll have Carnomaly.io, which will be where our blockchain and our rebate platform are held. Rebate platform is you become a member, and the way you become a member is by being a token holder. Based on how many tokens you have, you will be able to earn a percentage of a vehicle purchase in a rebate. So let's say you buy a $30,000 car and you own so many Carnomaly tokens, you will actually be able to earn, based on the price of Carnomaly, you know, $1,500, $2,000 rebate on that purchase. Then with the AVB, you'll be able to, automotive vehicle blockchain, the AVB, track your ownership history of the vehicle, track your oil changes, your maintenance, and different things like that. Really creating a digital imprint of the owner of the vehicle, where when they transfer the ownership, they're the ones transferring it. They're the ones facilitating it. And they're the ones that are allowed to transfer ownership of that vehicle. For instance, give an example of, you sell a car to a neighbor. Well, it takes anywhere in the United States, it takes anywhere from, you know, 2 to 4 weeks to get that transfer paperwork actually processed through the state. Well, if you sell it to the neighbor and they give it to their 16-year-old kid, and he goes out, goes to a party, gets a wreck, and severely injures a family, well, now that vehicle is still registered in your name, technically. So with the blockchain, we hope to make it where it's a seamless transfer. It's instant. It's recorded with the state, time-stamped on that blockchain. It can't be, you know, changed, and therefore eliminating some of those risks that people have by privately selling their vehicles, among other things.
Very cool, Scott. Sounds like a much more efficient way to handle that situation and myriad other situations regarding, you know, the automotive industry. So very cool. Thank you very much. All
Thank
right.
you.
So moving on to Frej.
Hello, yeah, Frej from EarnBet.io. So we are all about the community, and we are providing, actually, we are the leading DApp in decentralized application in the iGaming world with casinos. So if you were in that front playing blackjack or something, probably heard about us. But we are looking to, so it pretty much started that we saw a lot of the centralized platform never paid the real winners. So a lot of the times you couldn't know if, let's say, a lottery drawing, if it actually was the real user that got the funds. We've seen a lot of fraud in centralized casino, and we have seen a lot of people winning big money and cannot withdraw it. With EarnBet, we solve all that with a blockchain, and you bet with a smart contract, so we cannot do anything. So it's all fair games, and you play against math. So we have one of the lowest house ages is 1%, and you play against the smart contract. So if you win, you can withdraw it instantly to a MetaMask or anything you want. We have Ethereum, Bitcoin, Litecoin, everything. And it's fully on-chain, so on the blockchain. We are looking to create the #1 platform. So we want to take all the crypto traffic. That's the main goal in 2020. We have 2 other competitors. One of them is from Binance, and we are competing like head-to-head against them. So I'm pretty sure we have like 50% of the market share right now, but we're looking to really push it and go outside of crypto, so we can also go after the big centralized players, so we can sell the idea of why not own a casino? Why not be a part of the casino? Why do you want to give all the profits to some guy in some centralized casino that won't pay you if you win big? So we had a lot of success with people joining all over the world and liking the idea, and we are. I think some of the main cases that sells us is that it's fully transparent. You can see all the salaries. You can see, so we own 30% of the bet tokens, and 70% the rest is out in the community. The 30% pays marketing, pays salaries to the developers, building the blockchains, building the casinos. So we have 3 casinos right now, all around 1 bet token. So you get actually money from 3 casinos with 1 token. And next step is competing with the big ones, PokerStars and so on. That will launch in 5 months' time. But what is a sales point is pretty much fair, transparent community ownership. That's us. And we saw a huge boost in 2018, 2019, and we see 2020 even more. iGaming casino is born for blockchain, and I see also in this call that people agree with it. Like, it makes sense with gambling and blockchains, transparent and fairness, right? So we're looking to grow from there, and I hope that and for this stream we have a $50 Bitcoin sign-up bonus if anybody wanna visit the site right now. So that's my last block. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Frej. And thank you all so much. It's truly been a pleasure. This has been a fantastic live stream, and LawToken really looks forward to, helping to grow your company and to see the success of all of your enterprises. You're all really, really intelligent people, and we're really looking forward to the successes of your company. So thank you guys so much. And I believe Danila would like to say a few words, but from me, thank you all very much. And again, fantastic live stream. So thank you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I would like to say thank you to all speakers joining our panel today. We're always glad and excited to hear your ideas on where this space flies to, because we are obviously all in one boat. Thank you, Mike, for such an incredible work that you did today. For the ones who watch this panel now on the LaToken platform and our YouTube channel, I would like to remind you that if you represent a promising and strong project, being at the fundraising stage of your business path, and you intend to become part of one of our coming pitching sessions or set up your crowdfunding campaign with LaToken to present your project to the world and investors, contact our Los Angeles director, Mike Hendley, and he will guide you through the further process. Thank you, everybody, and looking forward to seeing you at our next online roadshow. Thank you, and I wish you a very good day.
See you,
Thank you.
Danilo.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Take care. Bye for now.
Thanks.
Okay.